This is an African people's only live stream. This is an African people's only live stream. This is an African people's own.
Alright, we're here. Welcome to another episode of Versus Mike History. I'm your host, Michael History. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, we review music, television, and film, interview guests from all walks of life, and provide social commentary for our lifestyle choices. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you choose to listen, and if we aren't on your preferred platform, let us know, and we'll do our best to change that. Welcome, guys. How you guys doing? It has been a long time inside. I can say that. As you can see, we have a new intro to the show. Let me know if you guys like it or not. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but I made it, so I just wanted to test it out, see if people will like it or not. But yeah, let me know. Like I said, being inside has been hard, yo. Like, I mean, I do have the privilege of like being able to work from home and everything, but at the same time, like, just being able to leave your crib and go wherever you want, whenever you want. Let me not get down, because I'm all... Anyway, the website is up. If you're listening to this, go to versusmikehistory.com. The site is live. All episodes are on there, all 12 episodes. The playlists are on there. Where you can find the podcast is on there. A little about section is on there. The link to the Patreon is on there. Everything is on there. Everything Mike History related is on there. I just want y'all to know that. I want y'all to have that information and go get it, please. Check it out. I put some time into it. I really didn't want to do it, but I did what I had to do, and I made it happen. So versusmikehistory.com, everything for the podcast is up there. I'm a little proud. And when you go to the website, at the top you'll see like, you know, a little interview blurb or whatever, but right under that it'll be something called Design of the Week, and that's something that I want to introduce to the podcast as well. So the Design of the Week that I have for this week, the very first one, is the Sinus Lounge Chair by Adolf and Schroeper. It was created in 1976. Now, any additional information, you could go Google, do your Googles, whatever, but it's a chair. I like it. It's on the site, and I thought it'd be fly. So anyway, let's get into it. Now, I've been recording. This episode is being recorded very late at night. I just want y'all to know that, because usually I record episodes during the day, you know, get it out the way, do all the editing and post-production and shit so I could get it out. I mean, so I could have a schedule for the morning, yada yada, boom, boom, whatever. However, I had to wait until nighttime to record this episode because new television is on TV. So I've been keeping up with the new season of Westworld, and it's been really dope. But what I want to talk about before I get into a little bit of Westworld is Insecure. So Insecure is finally back for its fourth season after taking about a year and a half off. It's been a long time coming. I know a lot of people were anticipating the show coming back, myself being one of those people. So I watched the first episode, and you know, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of funny shit happening. First and foremost, the fact that Issa's really getting this block party together and that everything is coming together is really dope. I really think that's a dope progression of her character, because, you know, I feel like for the first two seasons, we viewed Issa as a character who was like always down on her luck and she couldn't really get things together. And by the end of the third season, she started really turning her life around. And then in the fourth season, you see how everything is kind of fitting. Every situation is fitting in a space that it's meant to be fitted in. And this leads to her, you know, just doing things and just going with the flow instead of like trying to micromanage every single little part of her life. Like, she got a little side nigga that work at TSA. That scene was mad funny. And you know, her co-partner throwing the block party is Constance, I believe her name is, and she's dating Lawrence. So that's the whole thing, and that's kind of what we explore in the first episode. Then finding out that information together, and that Constance's new man is Issa's ex, and Issa's ex is dating her Block Party partner. So that's kind of the breakdown. It was really dope. A lot of funny scenes. The way this show is shot is still beautiful. Everybody who's hired on the show is doing such an amazing job, and it's a really good thing to see like quality black television flourishing, and its time being taken on it. The music, oh my gosh, like it's phenomenal. Everything about it is so great. So everybody go check out the first episode of Insecure. I'll be here every week giving a little breakdown. Hopefully by the time we get closer to the season finale, we'll be back outside and I'll be able to have guests on and stuff, so you guys just hear my voice. But regardless, I'll be here giving a little bit of information, my opinion on the episode and such. One more thing before we get off of Insecure too. The fact that Molly was tripping over her Andrew dating other people is super weird. Like, and the stuff at the end with her talking about Issa's life is like, I don't know, like it just seems like a really weird thing to say out of the blue, especially when they both equally have things that are going on in their life that's can't be problematic. So we'll see how that goes this season, because we obviously saw the intro part where she was talking about how she didn't really fuck with Molly when it was getting closer to the block party. But, you know, whatever. So where was I with Westworld? Oh yeah, so we on episode 5 of Westworld, and basically Dolores is just roaming through the city. She's causing chaos, and every episode that progresses further into the season just shows how much control she has over the environment. And I think that it's funny that they're showing her dismantle this society that she just can plow through, but once it becomes chaotic, it'll be much harder to navigate that space. So I think that we'll see more of that when we move forward in the season. But it's really interesting because it plays on like, who are you really? And Aaron Paul's character gets asked multiple times, or he has to question like why exactly he's doing what he's doing for Dolores. And you know, half of it is because she showed him that the company that is running everybody's lives is really controlling them and controlling their outcome of their entire life. But he doesn't really know what Dolores is. And I think that's when we get closer to that realization, because we did in this episode. And when we get closer to that realization, things just start to really come together. I don't know. The thing about Westworld to me is that it comes in waves. So like the first season was really good, and then the second season was like really confusing. And now I feel like things are clear again, but like it kind of lacks, I don't know, action. Like there's action going on, like there are explosives and hand-to-hand combat and things like that, but like I feel like moments that are supposed to be more impactful aren't really hitting as much as they can. But you know, the content is interesting to me regardless, so I'm gonna keep watching and I'm gonna keep reviewing it. And I think those are the two that I'm gonna stick with for now. Moving forward, what we got? Okay, so this week was a pretty busy week for me because I just started working from home, and anything, but the two movies that I did get to watch this past week were three, but the two that correlate with each other are Parasite and Snowpiercer. So Parasite you can go watch on Hulu, and Snowpiercer is on Netflix. I want to talk about Snowpiercer first though. The thing about Snowpiercer is that, well, the thing about both of those films is that they're directed by the same people, and they both share a star. But that's not really what I'm not really here to talk about how they compare to each other. But I'm here to judge them individually. So I watched Snowpiercer first because I knew that I was going to be watching. I watched Snowpiercer first because I just had time. And then I found out later in the week that Parasite was on there. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'll say this for the podcast. But I put Snowpiercer on, and Netflix got it at like 98% for me. on their thing, on their algorithm. So I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll put this on. And like, I know a lot of people who watched it, and I follow a lot of people on YouTube and listen to podcasts where people talk about how great this film is and how it didn't get the recognition it was supposed to, and yada yada yada, da da da. And so I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll put this on. So I put Snowpiercer on and I watched it, and I was satisfied with what I was watching for most of the movie. And I thought it was pretty good. And I still think that it's a good movie. I don't think that it's a bad movie. But the thing that bothered me about it is the ending. Like, the ending really bothered me because we didn't end the story with characters that we started the story with. And films like that really bother me. The story and the concept and everything like that was cool, but there's so many avenues that type of franchise could go down, and I feel like we wasted a lot of time on like dramatics and different scenes and stuff like that. And I don't know, it wasn't a bad movie, like I said. It just was. I just hate movies that like hype you up from the beginning, like, you know, this big thing is supposed to happen, and then you see it happen on screen, and then by the end it's like, all right, well, we're getting to the end and it looks like there's an idea, like I have an idea of what can happen at the end, but how would it make sense? How is the director gonna make sense of this? So those are thoughts that are usually running through my mind when I'm watching a movie that like I don't really fully understand. And usually if it's a bad movie, then I'm like, all right, whatever. And if it's a good movie, then I'm like, oh wow, like this is really dope, and it raises my perception of the film in totality. This film did the former, and I was like, I didn't understand the ending. I'm like, all right, so what? Like, I don't want to spoil it. I know I went in depth about the shows I'm watching, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I don't want to spoil everything I watched, but it was like I just didn't understand what idea we were supposed to have with the ending of the film, and I was bothered a lot. Parasite, however, was very delightful. It was a great film. It had me on the edge of my seat from the beginning to end. The cast was great. The fact that it's a foreign film and that you have to read subtitles throughout the entire film is almost a non-factor. And that was very surprising for me because I don't shy away from foreign films, but I'm not a big fan of them just because it's not in my main language. And watching that film and knowing the success it had in the box office and through the award circuit this past year, and this year even, just reinforced like how that mindset and that train of thought has to be changed when coming to review films or watch films or anything like that. So Parasite was dope. The ending was great. And it kind of, and I brought up the fact that these two films, Snowpiercer and Parasite, have the same director because their endings were similar. But Parasite did it so much better. It's like the kind of nuance that the director was trying to inject into Snowpiercer, he really got right with Parasite, and I appreciate that. And it was good to see that on screen because you know that like it was a director learning from his mistakes and growing as a creative, and I thought that was fire. That was a mouthful. What else we got here? And then close out the movie section, we got Stephen Glover, who is Donald Glover's brother and the creator of the show Atlanta with Donald Glover. He went on a tad Twitter rant, and I kind of just wanted to go through this because it led me to the other documentary that I was able to catch this past week. And this is what he starts with. He says, so Stephen Glover on Twitter, he was like, if you want to know why there hasn't been a funny movie in a while, it's because everybody's scared of offending people / Twitter. They make the main character gay or fat to be inclusive. Then they proceed to make all the same gay fat jokes, but just way weaker. So somebody replied and said, the funny thing about this tweet is that Atlanta is a great example that you can be funny without offending people. And then he replied and said, Tell that to the people mad about Mike Vick and Cat Williams being on our show. I know I sound grumpy, but just tired of art suffering and being altered by people that actually don't give a fuck about art. If you actually cared, your opinion would be valid. The Cat Williams episode of Atlanta was almost pulled before it aired. True story. He won an Emmy, and the world continued. I think it's our best episode. I don't want to use months of time and brain power writing a great script only to have a person that spent 5 minutes on it come behind me and rearrange the fuck shit up. My name ends up on it, so they don't actually care. FX allows Atlanta to cook. That's why it works. Get out of my way, and I'll get you a championship. The worst part is now niggas are guessing what y'all will be offended by. Y'all ain't even offended yet, and shit being we worked. LOL. Your homework is to go watch Too Funny to Fail on Hulu. So what did Mike History go do? He went to go watch Too Funny to Fail on Hulu, and that documentary was pretty cool. It's a documentary about the Dana Carvey show, which is a sketch comedy show that was on air on ABC in the late 80s, I want to say. Late 80s or early 90s. I can't remember. But the Dana Carvey show, that's what the documentary is about. And it's the show about Dana Carvey, who was a really big hit on SNL. He did a lot of funny shows. He did a lot of funny skits. He did Wayne's World with Mike Myers, Wayne's World 1 and 2. And he even had a falling out with Mike Myers because he felt like Mike Myers stole the character of Austin Powers from him. But that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. The documentary is about this show, the Dana Carvey show, about what he did after he left SNL, and the people that he hired on the show are huge megastars like Stephen Colbert, Steve Carell, Louis C.K., and other people. Like, it was a really dope documentary about how the show came together, but about how network interference ruined the show. So they really got all of these young talented people who were going to be future superstars on the cast for the show, the writing crew and the acting crew and the skit crew. And what ended up happening is that ABC was bought by Disney, and once Disney bought ABC, they thought it was going to be more slapstick and more like family friendly, so they put it after Home Improvement. And anybody who's seen Home Improvement knows that that's just like your average white family show that you know, it's not really any inappropriate humor. It's like, oh, Dad, why can't I use the car? And then he tries to sneak and use the car, and he crashes it, and it's like, oh, son, learn your lesson, whatever. Typical middle 90s white man America bullshit, whatever. Regardless, the show did not pop at all. It only ran 7 episodes, and it's just an incredible story about how people who are clearly talented and who will go on to make millions of dollars and a bunch of success for their own careers were all together in this one space and couldn't make it work. And I thought that was, you know, a really dope documentary. But the question that it raised after I was done watching was that, well, is this Stephen Glover taking shots at Disney? Because FX is owned by Disney now because Disney bought Fox. So it would be real interesting to know that Disney is getting in the way of ruining good black TV. And, you know, I don't want to ruin them. I don't want no parts with the mouse, but, you know, they got juice. So I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to see. I hope Atlanta's next season is really dope and they didn't spend a lot of time away from recording and building all these successful careers for each other just to come back and not be able to make that magic work. Anywho, what do we got here? Okay, we got new music. So Division's album dropped. Wow. Okay, so throughout the week, Division dropped a single called Dangerous City. And it's pretty dope. It's a nice little vibe. But I'm pretty sure their album just dropped this weekend, and I haven't listened to it, and I'm kind of bothered by that. I'm about to check my phone right now on air, so I'm just gonna talk through it while it's loading, and let's see what we have here. Yada yada yada. Okay, EPs and singles. Okay, so no, the album didn't drop yet, but the track list for the for the album definitely dropped. But yeah, so they dropped a song, and clearly it's release season for them. And they've been on a roll. Their quality has been raising exponentially since they came on the scene, since they signed with Drake or whatever. And they're one of my favorite duos. And they dropped a song, and it was fire. What else? We got Trina just dropped a new album. I haven't heard that either, but I know that she's dropping new music because I was watching Hotboxing with Mike Tyson, which is his podcast, and they just were having this really dope conversation about, you know, what does it mean to kill your ego, and why do people do the things that they do. And it was really in depth, and just they just evaluated the human psyche and really went inward in terms of like how fear controls decisions, and being in fear can control how successful you are, or can control how unsuccessful you are. And for Mike Tyson, it was a big reason for his success. And it was a really good episode. It was a really good podcast. I would suggest everybody go see it and go stream Trina's new album. I'm gonna go check that out too. But that was really dope. Last but not least, Quarantine Radio. Well, yeah, we could do Quarantine Radio, but Quarantine Radio led to Tory's album coming out this week. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see any official date for Tory's album coming out before the last couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure that's because everything went on lockdown because of the coronavirus. But since everything's been closed, Tory's been doing his Instagram live sessions where, you know, he's getting shorties on from around the country to shake their ass on camera on Instagram live, and called it Quarantine Radio. Now, Tory has been doing amazing numbers. We all thought it was amazing when DJ D-Nice went and hit 100,000 people on Instagram Live when he was DJing. But Tory Lanez has been getting up to 350,000 people on his Instagram Live, and that's astounding. And for any label, that's like, all right, well, this is clearly an artist who can drop whenever, and, you know, it really won't affect the numbers so much, the fact that he's inside, because people are still tuning into everything that he's doing. So it dropped, and I haven't heard all of it. I've heard some of it, whatever I liked. Is Tory saying, I guess it's Tory giving his old sound a kiss goodbye, because he was talking about how he had to dumb his sound down because of the label, and now he's a fully independent artist, and yada yada yada. And, you know, it's cool, because I'm always gonna support an artist becoming independent. But I don't know, like, just hearing that the label wanted him to change his sound to a different sound and complaining about that once everything is up, I kind of have issues with that, because it's like, I feel like an artist of his caliber should be in more control of that. And I feel like if you don't put yourself in that position to begin with, then you will never be in it later. But what do I know? I'm not a music executive, so I'm just talking my shit here. Yeah, and that's pretty much it on music. I guess we're on Instagram Live now. Teddy Riley and Babyface was supposed to happen on Saturday, and it didn't happen, and I'm upset. And a couple reasons it didn't happen is because Teddy Riley tried to like inject his business venture into the process. He was like, well, he's going to get his business who handles Instagram Live. It's still going to be on Instagram Live, but it's going to go through his business, and you're going to be able to swipe up and yada, yada, yada. And it just kind of muddied the whole thing up, because it was like, yo, just do it how everybody else has been doing it. And, you know, stop trying to make it a venture. And Babyface actually had COVID-19. So that was pretty interesting. But he went on Instagram this past weekend to announce that he's feeling better, he's at the hospital, and that he will be doing the Instagram Live with Teddy Riley. So once he feels better, I'm sure we're going to get that battle. Tim and Swiss, thank you. All of this hip hop, all this R&B, all this good music that's been bringing everybody together while we all inside has been very appreciative. This is a very kind gesture, and I respect the creativity, and I respect the platform that you guys created. So I just wanted to say that on air. And then last but not least, RZA and DJ Premier went at it this past Saturday. And yo, when I tell you that I fanboyed, bro. First of all, I'm a big Wu-Tang fan, like huge. But DJ Premier is like, his talent is just unmatched. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how good he is. It's like, it doesn't even make sense almost. So they went back and forth on the Instagram battle this past weekend and last night actually. And it was amazing. It was everything you would think that 90s hip hop, you know what I mean? Boom bap, like straight rugged gully, like everything you will hope for in that type of battle was pretty much served to us on a silver platter. It was a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that I'm here to see it. So it's, you know, it's a lot to look forward to in terms of our heroes who are still here, because, you know, we're getting good content out of this, and hopefully it goes away sooner than later, and hopefully we get back outside to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and we get society built back up, and we get healthy people, and we keep healthy people healthy, and we help the sick get through their turbulent times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, this was a rough episode for me. I don't really record this late at night, like I said before, and I had to watch 2 episodes of television and talk about them fresh. But I did it nonetheless, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I hope to hear more from people. Like I said, versusmikehistory.com. We're on Twitter at @versusmh. We're on Instagram at @versusmikehistory. I appreciate everybody that's listening everywhere: New York, Texas, California, Europe, everywhere. So, guys, please reach out. Let me know what to work on with the podcast and everything, because I want to hear from you guys, and I want to make this shit better. And we got a lot of dope shit coming up. And when we get back outside and we get these interviews back popping, we'll know. But this has been another one. See you guys.